Hi, it's David here with DG Sessions, and today I want to share with you the story of my recent guitar purchase, which inevitably turned into a little bit of a guitar rescue mission. As many guitar rescue mission stories do, this one happened to start in a pawn shop in the UK, quite a popular pawn shop. I'm going to share with you my order page right now, and as you can see, this guitar I paid a grand total of £190 for, which at the moment equates to around about $230. Now, the reason I decided to take a risk on this guitar, listed as PRS Blue. Now, there is not a lot to go on there by way of model number. I have no idea what this actually was when I ordered it. All I could tell was this was listed as a PRS, which meant I could be in for perhaps a counterfeit guitar, or I could be in for maybe an SE at this price. It was highly unlikely I was going to be getting any kind of USA-made core PRSs at this kind of money. But looking at the price and looking at the picture, I could notice a few things that made me think, you know what, this is going to be worth taking a gamble. As you can see there, the picture wasn't particularly good. I couldn't see an awful lot, but I could make out that there was a flamed maple top on the body and there was a matching flamed maple headstock. That's quite unusual to see on any kind of PRS, whether it's core or SE. I could see there were EMG pickups in there, which made me think, you know what? This is probably going to be an authentic guitar. This is possibly something that someone's maybe swapped the pickups out for. This could be something that somebody's maybe modified in some ways. So worst case scenario, even if I just get those EMGs out of it, I can have some fun with that. And it's not going to be a complete loss if there's any problems with the guitar. Little did I know that there are problems that were going to be arising when this guitar arrived. So the first thing that I noticed when the guitar arrived was I was able to find out what model the guitar actually was. And it was a pleasant surprise, I have to be honest. It was one of these. Not something I'd ever come across before. This was a limited edition, anniversary edition of the Tremonti SE. This was made for the Thomann music store. And the specification on this was much higher than the regular Tremontis at the time. We had an ebony fretboard. We had the EMG pickups, which was stock from the factory at the time. So there's a battery compartment ready-made in there that's not been added at a later date. And we have the matching flamed maple top and the flamed maple headstock. So there was some really nice spec on this guitar, which was a nice surprise for me. I was expecting something, a little bit standard, perhaps modified, but to get something which was, a little bit special from the factory was a nice surprise for me. However, once the guitar arrived and I was able to identify it, we started noticing a few little issues. Now, the first issue that I noticed was the pickup selector tip was missing. Now, this isn't a big issue, but this was an indicator of a few little things that were going to be coming later on. It's just one of those things that shouldn't really be happening. If you're taking care of your instrument, then this isn't something that you're going to be able to completely get away with not noticing. You're going to have to repair this. This is something you're going to have to sort out quite early on. But whoever had done this didn't repair their pickup selector switch. The body itself was in remarkably good condition, to be honest. I mean, it was a used guitar. It had been a couple of knocks here and there and some little scratches into the lacquer, but nothing that would make me think that the guitar had been used or abused in any way. However, as I started to look a little bit closer, we started to come up with more and more issues. Hence what I mean by the rescue mission that we had to go on. Once I took a look at the neck, I'd noticed that it needed a little bit of a truss rod adjustment. So I decided to remove the truss rod cover, and this happened. Yes, the bottom of the truss rod cover was actually glued to the guitar headstock. I don't know why. There is no reason for this to happen. There is no reason to glue your truss rod cover to your headstock. Inevitably, you're going to need to adjust your truss rod at some point. So why you would super glue it down, I have no clue. This caused such a headache. As you can see, the whole thing just broke off, and you can see the super glue residue on the neck there. It's really glued down tight. So I had to get a hairdryer out to try and melt the glue very, very carefully. I didn't want to cause any issues with the actual guitar finish, more so than were already there. But luckily, I did manage to eventually remove that part of the truss rod cover, and unfortunately some of the glue had affected the finish, which means you can see down there that we've got a little bit of wood showing, which I actually took a blue Sharpie to it just to see if I could tidy it up a little bit, and it did make a little bit of a difference. I'm not too worried about it because this is going to be covered with a truss rod anyway at a later date. But again, this was the first of the major issues that I noticed. Once I had it all set up like that, I managed to actually start playing the thing, which is when I noticed our second major issue. Somebody somewhere had either left a soldering iron or something, perhaps maybe some hair straighteners, something like that. Something had been resting on the back of this neck of the guitar and had melted the lacquer. Now at this point, this was something that was quite noticeable when you were running your thumb up and down the neck on the guitar. So this was something that I wanted fixing, and I wanted to sort it out as best I could. You can see the indent there has actually built up quite a bit. This is melted down. The thing that I was hoping at this stage was that this indent hadn't actually gone all the way down to the finish. If it goes all the way down to the finish, then we've got an issue. The whole thing needs to be refinished, which is a big expense. Now, the guitar would be worth it. The amount of money that I spent on it and the amount that it's supposedly worth, it was actually worth looking into, getting it refinished. But I had my fingers crossed that this was just in the lacquer on the top, which meant that I could hopefully sand it down flat and then rebuff it up, rebuild up the lacquer, and everything was going to be okay. Now at this point, I would like to give a very big thank you to Martin, my friend, who helped me out with this stage in the rescue mission. Without his tools, without his expertise, and without every ounce of help that he managed to give along the way, this would not have gone as smoothly as it did. So he played a big part in this. So thank you very much, Martin. This was our first step. We moved along. We sanded this neck down. So we managed to get the indent flat. We managed to get it. You can see there's still a little bit of a mark there, but running your thumb up and down, you can no longer feel it. So this was the big thing for me. I didn't really mind how it looked. I didn't mind if there was a mark there. I just wanted it to feel smooth. I didn't want to notice it when I was playing, because when you're doing that, it distracts you. It takes you out of the moment. So I wanted to make sure that we could have the neck flat, which we managed to do without hitting the finish. So we managed to sand this down. It did not hit the finish. We just very, very carefully sanded it down until we managed to get it flat. And then once we'd done that, we moved on and we buffed the neck back up to a nice, smooth, polished shine. I was absolutely delighted with the results here, and you can see there's barely anything that you can notice. It's almost as good as new. There's a couple of little scratches from our sanding that we didn't manage to completely buff out, but that's completely in keeping with the fact that you've got to remember this is a used guitar anyway. So the guitar itself is not in absolutely pristine condition, but there's only a couple of little scratch marks on here. Nothing worth noting, and certainly nothing as bad as was there before. So you can see this is where the headstock is, and you can see it's looking nice and smooth. It's not looking sat, it's not looking sanded, it's not looking like it's had a load of work done on it. We've just managed to get everything as it was and nice and smooth. So happy days. This is the next thing that I managed to do. I replaced the nut once I had everything set up. I did notice that the one of the nut slots had been cut too low and one of the strings was buzzing. So I just had to chip off the old nut, install a new Graphtec nut. As you can see there, we've still got some remnants of the old super glue from the truss rod cover. But as you'll see in a few moments, we've actually managed to source a new truss rod cover and a new tremolo arm. The original didn't come with a tremolo arm as well, so I've managed to sort that out. The final little adjustment that I made, a little modification, I decided to install some locking tuners, the PRS style locking tuners as well, just to give it just a little bit of a finesse on the end there. This was the end of the recovery mission, and hopefully I want you to see exactly how the guitar is and how it plays in a clip now. If you've enjoyed this, if you found this interesting in any way, shape or form, please do remember to like and subscribe the video. It does help me. It does mean that I know the kind of things that you guys like to see, and I can create more content like this. So without further ado, here is the guitar as it is now in its rescued form.